Thanks for being patient. We're here calling in from East LA. I'm here with my mom, and my name's Rosanna Esparza Ahrens, and we're here to present a wonderful workshop. And so I want to introduce to you a national treasure and a local community treasure to East LA, my wonderful mother, Ofelia Esparza.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here, and I'm just excited that I can do this, that we could do this presentation today. To start off, first, I want to us all to acknowledge the first people of this land, the Tonga. We're in Tonga land, and be grateful and for their presence here. They're still here. They're still supporting this land, and it is our charge to complement that, to continue with that honoring of this land. So be mindful that they are here supporting us in spirit. But I also like to call on my own ancestors, the people that come with me to all these places that I'm taken to, and I hope that you can call your ancestors who are with you in everything you do. And so we will have an arriving ceremony to be present at this moment so that we can move on into a very fruitful and interesting, I hope exciting time together. So I want to ask you to please close your eyes and take a deep breath. Raise your shoulders and then let it out slowly through your mouth and sound it out. And just be mindful that we are here to participate, to learn, to enjoy, and that we come away with some information. We learn from each other, and that we are going to just have a cultural exchange here. And so please be present. Take another deep breath. And this is how we arrive to the present moment. Leave all your tasks and behind that you went through today, all the hurrying up things and stresses, and be present. Another deep breath and slowly let it out. Open your eyes and you have arrived to this moment. Thank you.
Because we bit off a lot of time with our technical difficulties on our end, so sorry. We're gonna just kind of forge forward. Today we're creating Milagros, and this is a practice that my mom developed, and my sister and I, working with groups with the intent of wellness. And so here's like a little example of what a milagro looks like. You want to show the other one, Mom? But basically, you've seen milagros in churches or tied to a ribbon and pinned on. Somebody wears it, and it's really a symbol of a prayer or a promise, a wish that somebody has committed to or agreed upon. And so it's pre-Columbian. You see it in the Catholic Church, but it predates that as well. And so we've kind of transformed it into a little workshop so that we can create our own milagros. And even, well, especially now with the climate of COVID and the climate of white supremacy and just the whole struggle for equity under the law, all of that. And may God rest the soul of George Floyd. And and all the other beloved family members that lost their lives to police brutality. But maybe this milagro can be a prayer that you create for yourself. So I just want everyone to rub their hands together, and you could just feel the vibrating energy that's between your hands. And we're going to endow our hands with power right now, with miraculous power. So rub your hands together, feel that vibration, and just say out loud or in your heart, my hands know. They know. There's wisdom here. There's wisdom in this vibration. And so we're going to use them like nets or a rake. And just imagine yourself bring your hands down to your ankles. And what we're going to do is we're going to slowly bring the hands up the legs, up the thighs, bringing it up. And what we're doing is we're gathering emotions, stuck feelings, stuck hurts, and situations that have been kind of there in our bodies, and just grab it and pull it up. Everything, even though you feel like this is silly, but just pull it up. And it's like you're gathering it up, and pushing it up above you, and hold it right there. Like right now, what's up above your head represents your emotional body. And if you feel like you need to do it another time or two, like you feel something in your knee or your hip or your bansa, go back and just pull it up again, and just know that you've gotten everything out, and you put it up over your head. And take a deep breath. Take a deep, deep breath and let it go. And then now we're going to slowly bring it back into your body, but with awareness. Just slowly bring it down, all of it down onto your head, onto your shoulders, and let it all settle back down. And you almost feel like a weight is coming down as your hands pass through and go all the way down to your feet. There's one spot, maybe you have several, but pick one spot that you notice that heaviness or a tinge or a pull or some sort of tweak there. And wherever that is, you notice it, it's there. Take your hands that you've endowed and put your hand in that spot. So I'm putting mine right under my right rib. And I happen to know that my liver is right there. So just send love to that part of your body and just say thank you. Thank you for showing me that you're here. And just be loving and kind to that part of your body. And figuratively or energetically, just pull that part out, whatever that is. I'm not pulling out my liver, I'm pulling out the emotion that's stuck there. So I'm pulling it out and putting it in front of me. And maybe I know what it looks like. Maybe it's appeared to me as a symbol. And if it's a symbol, if you don't have a symbol, just allow the first thing that comes to your mind to be that symbol that's in front of you, that's representing that emotion. And you could ask that symbol, what is the gift that you're giving me? Is it safety? Is it protection? Is it love? Is it peace? Is it happiness? Even though we have emotions that are, positive or negative, either one, whether it's negative, it's always got a positive reason why it's there. Like it's here because it wants to protect me. Whatever that is, let that gift, take note of it. What is the symbol and what is the gift? And just say thank you to it. Thank you. and allow it to become a glowing light. Give it a color, and that light, let it be the gift, that gift of peace or happiness or security. Let it be that. And just say, thank you. I needed that. I needed security. And notice the color and bring it back into that part of your body and put it back in and allow it to go throughout your body and allow it to go into your cells and all up to your head and down to your feet and up to your head again and even beyond your skin. Just like feel it and thank it. And now just bring yourself back to this moment. You can open your eyes and take note of the symbol that you received from this part of your body. And that symbol is going to be your milagro. So is it a butterfly? Is it a heart? What is that? And so right now we're going to start with the making the milagro. And what you'll need, and hopefully you read the announcement, but you need some paper, some markers, a piece of foil, a Sharpie, and some glue. And what you're going to do is on a piece of paper, you're going to draw your symbol. So we have some symbols here already that we drew for ourselves, but you could just quickly draw a symbol. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It just needs to be a line drawing. So if you can quickly do that, then we can get on with the next part. So you're going to take a few pieces of paper or get a sheet of paper and fold it like into quarters. And that's going to go underneath your piece of foil. So the sheets under the foil is just like a cushion. So because you're going to use either a pen or a dull pencil and trace your image onto the foil. So we're tracing the image onto the foil and press hard enough to push the image onto the foil, but not too hard so you're tearing the paper and the foil. So what we're doing is we're embossing the foil with this drawing. And once you have that down, then you remove the top, your drawing, and you're going to take a Sharpie and trace the lines of the design that you just drew with a Sharpie on the foil. So this is going to resemble the Milagro, the little metal charms that we normally use. This creates the design. And once you're done tracing your design on the foil, you can cut it out, leaving a border around it. So it's not right on the black line. You're leaving some space around the image. So it'll look great when you put it onto your cardstock. onto your paper where you're going to place your Milagro. And while you're doing this, you can think about words that describe this symbol, like using the color. Like, let's say mine was a butterfly, and the color that it gave me was a bright blue color. So what are the words that we use to describe my butterfly? I could talk about the fluttering wings of blue and gold, iridescent blues, thinking about the nature of the butterfly that is a transformation, right? When I think of butterflies, I think of transformation and intention, and just some poetic language that goes with this piece, because that way you can add some words to your piece at the end. So my mom has her heart motif traced out, and now she's going to glue it onto.
Can I do it on the card?
Yeah. Onto some cardstock. She has a yellow or a gold color.
I took a piece like this and folded it in half. And I could fold this one in half too. You could leave it this way or fold it this way. I'll just leave it here. Okay.
So we're going to glue that on. Normally we go through an exercise where we make a haiku, thinking about the gift that will come with this Milagro. Just do it in your direction, Mom. It's fine. And she's going to go over it again with the Sharpie, and she's going to design, enhance the design and refine it and to the way she wants it to look. So go ahead and do that. I'm not sure if you have any questions yet, but if you do, it might come through. I'm not sure.
Okay, I use this too.
And then she's using the blunt end of the Sharpie to push in the negative space on the foil, and it creates like a design. It adds more texture to it. Yeah, you can see it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Just keep it where you had it.
Right here. Okay.
Yeah. And face it towards you. And so you can decorate from here and add a prayer. Let's say there's a prayer that comes to you when you think about that part of your body or the emotion that was stuck there.
Or it could be your intention also.
Yeah. Could I have the finished one, Mom?
Okay.
So here's a finished one that my mom did, and it had to do with her eyes. She had cataract surgery a couple of years ago, and the haiku says, the name of her haiku is Mis ojos, windows to my world, enhancing light and color, heart path enlightened. So allow this exercise to inspire you to write poetry or write a poem or even a note to yourself, because the way you use this piece is, it's really like a daily reminder. You place the Milagro in a spot where you'll see it every day. And remember the gift and send love to that part of your body. And you can endow your hands. Like every time you see it, you endow your hands, and then just put your hands there in that space and just send love and thank yourself for just being in touch with your body, listening to your body. And do that every day. Like this is a great way of self-care, of taking care of yourself in a way that is beyond like taking supplements. It is more about being aware and being mindful that your body is your temple, and it speaks to you. It's communicating with you. And a lot of the time we spend all our time in this world up here in our head, in our mind, and we're trying to figure things out and rationalize things. But your body has wisdom. Your body is in touch with the ground. Like when you think about breathing and grounding yourself and sending energy down into the earth, like composting and bringing Mother Earth energy back up into your body has this wisdom. So use this exercise to scan your body and just pay attention.
And I want to say that you give it your own intention, and you don't even have to explain it to anyone, but you understand what it means to you. And as Rosanna said, it's a reminder to be mindful of the intention you put on this. So it is self-care, and it is comparable to a traditional milagro or an ex voto that people make to give thanks, for gratitude, for intentions, for healing, for prayer. And so it's your own intention that you give it that gives it meaning.
Yeah. Are there any questions from the audience? I'm wondering. Okay. Is there something else you want to say about Milagros?
I think, like I said, it's your own intention, but it's also a way to bring some peace into your mind, into your life. And I would suggest that I frame mine and put it in a frame and put it in my bedroom. And so when I go to bed, I say a little prayer, but I also remind myself that I have to take care of myself. I have lots to do. And but the one I made to right now with a heart, it's really about the state of conditions right now. And I said, let peace prevail, because I want to think not only about myself, but all the tragic and terrible things that are all around us in our world. And I just want to remember to say something about that, to pray and send my intentions for healing for all the people who are suffering. And it's a small thing to do, but it's something that if it's powerful, because it's part of your essence, it's part of your mind, it's part of your heart.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to share about the other milagro you made?
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've made several of these. This one is one that I made not long ago, and it's about strength, centering, healing, and anticipating. I think all this turmoil around me really gets, I feel it in my gut, in my abdomen, and it really, it's physical, this pain and this sadness I feel. So I made a milagro with a body and the center spiral, because that's where the pain is, but it's the center of my hope and my intention that it doesn't let me, the terrible news and the terrible events don't change my resolve, my intent to do the things that I still have to do, of taking care of the schooling I do. I mean, many things that I have to attend to and take care of. So it's a reminder, again, a healing reminder for myself that I need to just be strong and have courage and to continue my life in a creative way. And of course, all of us doing that is a powerful energy that we put out. And hopefully, we make a big difference, if not in everybody's lives, but in our own and the people around us. So these are, our milagros with a now intention of today, of now. And they don't replace the traditional ones, but it's something that has meaning for you.
House Finch on YouTube has a question or a comment. Oh, this is a great exercise, simple but meaningful and purposeful.
Thank you.
Thank you, House Finch. I know who you are. It's my sister.
Oh.
Well, we're just so pleased and happy to be here and to represent East LA. And thank you to the National Endowment of the Arts, and thank you to Grand Park and the Big Read. I hope that everybody is diving into all the presentations on the Big Read. It's, such a great program.
And this exercise, you could pass it on to other people and spend, more time on it and create something very beautiful that you could display. But I think it's something that we all need, some healing exercise, and just pass it on, or do it, or sit down and elaborate this one, or start one that you could put a lot of attention to. But thank you for participating. Thank you for your attention.
Somebody asked, when making a milagro, do you prefer quiet or music, certain music, or what do you do that is most healing for you?
Many times I have quiet music. For me, it's a quiet time, but music is a very healing, atmospheric surrounding. So I would say that's a very good idea.
Yeah,
a good intention.
You could light some incense or
Yes.
Burn some sage and clear the space. That's always a great practice, is to clear the space with sage and just allow yourself to sit and listen. Like one exercise that I like to do is to notice my presence in my body and my skin, and then just expand out beyond my skin, beyond the things in the room, and beyond the room, beyond the house, and just feel all the things that I have around me as part of me. It's just a great way to just be in a state of noticing.
Another space that I find very very wonderful with this exercise is just to be out in your garden or a place where you experience nature, even in your backyard. That's what I have a little niche where I have my plants, and I mean the wildlife in our neighborhood is there where there's trees, there's birds, and those are it's part of the ambience of this kind of it's a meditation, a self meditation that you make again with your intentions. So you find your own space that is conducive to this kind of activity, and I think you will get so much more out of it. Uh, Pass it on to other people.
So with that, I just want to say thank you again. Thank you to Grant Park and the National Endowment of the Arts and the Big Read and the Department of Cultural Affairs. We're just so grateful to be able to share a little something from our practice, and we work with the Alliance for California Traditional Arts and with self-help graphics, since I don't know 1979. But we're just so grateful to be here.
We're in the neighborhood.
Oh, somebody asked, where do you keep your milagros after you make them? And so we have 4 minutes. We could talk about that.
Well, I have a home altar in my house and it changes depending on uh, the time of year or the month or something special. And so I put them there as with photographs of my loved ones. During this pandemic, I've lost very close family members, my brother and my sister. And so these are just additional things that's part of my own meditation or prayer, and I add them to that. But I also had the one I had of the eyes I had in my bedroom because I have to remind myself to take care of my eyes, and just to be tender with myself because I want to have my health for a longer time. I'm already 89. I want to live a lot. I have a lot of things to do yet.
Yeah, and I think another good place to hang a milagro is, for me, is near the light switch in my bedroom, because I always see that as I exit my bedroom, or in the bathroom would be good, like near the mirror, and just read that and see it, and then be able to look at yourself in your eyes and just say, yeah, I hear that, just acknowledging yourself. That's very powerful.
Thank you.
Well, we have 3 more minutes.
Any more questions? Okay. Well, just remember that this was a very brief workshop that someday maybe we'll be able to meet with many of you and embark on a very detailed and complete exercise.
Yes. Thank you so much. Um, we're just, like I said, really super happy to be here, and I hope that your healing is miraculous.
Take care of yourself and stay safe. Thank you.
My name is Jonah Elijah. I am a visual artist from Houston, Texas, living and working in downtown LA, and this is Grand Park, our LA Voices. For inspiration, I use my memory for one of my sources as inspiration. I think about a lot of the scenes, a lot of the ways I grew up. I think about the way I was raised, being raised by my mother on the weekends and my father during the week. That is something where I pull a lot of inspiration. Just scenes from how I was raised, and a lot of those things really inspire me. And going back home really inspires me. Seeing my community now up to date, just seeing people on the street. Just seeing people on the street here as well, that inspires me. Working on murals in the inner city in LA, South LA, just seeing how much things are alike, even in my community back home in Houston and seeing the community in LA, that really inspires me because it lets me know that we really are all still connected and we live some similar lives. Yeah, so sometimes when I'm I guess trying to talk about what's going on in the world, I know sometimes those realities can be discomforting for the viewer or even for me sometimes. So embracing those discomforting realities, that's when I'm using my memory. Sometimes those realities, going back to certain scenes that were probably traumatic. And even some of those discomforting realities are times when I'm reflecting on police brutality or the inequalities that's in America. Just reliving certain situations, reliving like certain traumas that I had growing up, being that I use my memory as a source material. Support is a pretty big thing that we need as artists. My biggest source of support has been from my family, friends, people that have been following me on Instagram since I first started painting. Since I actually began painting in a painting class for non-art majors, and I was posting every new painting I was doing on Instagram, and like everybody that's been following me since then, they've been encouraging me and have been seeing my my progression and the way I've polished as an artist, and they just keep me going. Representation from galleries, it's super encouraging. They motivate me a lot. I think the support should come from just local art galleries. I think there should be more ways for public art. So for self-care, I would say it's painting. That is a self-care for me, but when I'm outside of the studio, one thing I love to do that is really soothing for me is working out, taking naps. Sometimes it's making beats. I'm still kind of like, I'm not that relaxed because there's still a lot going on. Like even right now, like we're going through the George Floyd trials, and I think that's something I'm watching every day. And you know, being that I'm so close to that situation, being that I know George Floyd's family, and I just recently did that mural back home dedicated to him. So I'm still kind of on edge, still trying to learn and still figuring out ways to always keep those subject matters relevant in my work. I think when I get out of my studio, I think what really makes me feel good is being creative and still being creative and reading. Reading is something that I realize is the most soothing thing since the pandemic started, since we've been in quarantine. I think since I was in my chamber, I was able to just read and read and read plenty pages, and just gaining knowledge is self-care for me. It really influences my work. I think once I'm reading, it just enhances the work, and it allows me to bring those different subjects into the work, and that way I'm able to teach through my work. You can find me on Instagram at jonah.elijah, And you can also find me on my website, jonahelijah.art. And up next for me, I'm assisting Michael Massenberg with a few local murals. So stay tuned.
Hi everyone, my name is Jocelyn Ayala. I'm an artist, but most importantly, I am the ArtBridge Outreach Program Coordinator for the Dahl Center for the Arts. The Dahl Center for the Arts is our local community arts and culture center here in downtown Pomona. We are currently closed to the public, but we do have an online presence, and you can check us out at dawcenter.org or look us up on Instagram and Facebook. All right, today I'm going to walk us through creating our own vision boards of our neighborhoods and what we imagine they'll be like post-COVID. But first, as inspiration, I'm going to take us on a brief walk around my neighborhood here in downtown Pomona. Let's get started. Welcome to Pomona. We're starting at the downtown Pomona Metrolink station. It is on the Riverside line for all you train goers. It takes you right into the heart of downtown Pomona. As we walk on down this pathway, we're going to be looking at some cool features in the downtown area that I often walk by. Here we have Sean Diamond Plaza, where pre-COVID we had a lot of outdoor music and events. It is also where one of the most recognizable murals of Pomona resides. It is titled Pomona Envisions the Future. You can't visit our downtown area without noticing this beautiful mural. As we continue walking, we're going to go left, and you'll see a lot of community businesses. We're going to take a brief pause at the corner just so that I can point out that Pomona has two main walkways of its outdoor pedestrian mall. The Antique Row with a lot more amazing shops and restaurants, and the Arts Colony, where I spend most of my time and will be most of what you are seeing with me today. Let's zoom up the street now so that I can share with you one of my favorite city landmarks. This is the Fox Theater. The Fox Theater showed its first film in 1931. It is on the corner of Gary Avenue and 3rd Street. It was solely a mainstream film house until 1976 and has since evolved into a multi-use venue, from showing concerts to hosting wrestling matches. Some of the city's finest parties have been thrown at the Fox Theater. All right, let's zoom down this way on 3rd Street, and you're going to notice that when you visit downtown Pomona, there's a lot of art all around us. Here we have the Dahl Center for the Arts and City of Pomona's latest project, Barriers of Beauty, where local artists were able to paint one of these road barriers to help beautify our lovely city even more. You'll also notice that there's a lot of art in some unique spaces for the public to enjoy. One of those spaces is on the corner of Main and 3rd Street. Right now, there is a show for the public by Temis Laguna called You Are the Miracle, and it's hosted by 3rd Street Gallery. As we zoom around the corner, we're coming to my favorite space in the downtown area. That's the Dahl Center for the Arts. The Dahl Arts Center has been a nonprofit community arts and culture center since 1984. We strive for inclusive, accessible, and equitable arts and cultural experiences for our local community. Let's zoom again up the street, going by some more awesome stores and this long white wall that will soon host a brand new mural by East Low Streetscapers. I'm going to slow down and take a pause here to point out all of these art boards you see on the building across the way and on the right side posted to the fences. These are outdoor projects put on by the Alley Gallery to further promote local artists and bring more art to the public. As my walk is coming to an end, there are so many amazing locally owned businesses here and so much art to take in. I hope you get a chance to come visit us and enjoy the space as much as we do. Thank you for taking this walk with me, and I hope it's brought some inspiration for the project we're about to start. Welcome to my art station. As we're getting ready to create, go ahead and grab a piece of paper and any art supplies that you have around your house. I have here a pencil, eraser, markers, crayons, watercolors, a cup of water, and a napkin. Before we get started, take a moment to visualize your neighborhood and what it looks like. The sidewalks, the trees and birds, the buildings. What are some of your favorite memories of your neighborhood? Now that you have your neighborhood in mind, try to pick out some of the more memorable parts of it, and let's reimagine them onto our paper. To start, I'm going to do a quick sketch of 5 chosen memories from my neighborhood walk. First, the beautiful pink tree outside the metro station. Second, a car from the DAW Art Center sign. Third, the Sean Diamond Plaza venue area. Definitely take your time sketching out your memories or future memories you hope to make in your neighborhood. My fourth memory is the palm tree from 3rd Street. And fifth and finally, a face mask. When your sketch is finished, it's time to color. First, I'll start with my pink tree, using a brown marker to outline the trunk of it. I always found that markers are great for creating bold lines, making a simple tree pop out more. To make my tree look even more real, I'm going to add lines going in different directions. By doing this, I'm adding texture to my tree and making it look fuller. This technique is actually called hatching. Hatching is when you use parallel lines to create the visual effect of depth and shading. For the head of my tree, I'm going to show how far out my tree's flowers go by outlining these curved lines I made in my sketch. This way my tree looks more like it's in motion, like my tree is blowing in the wind. And of course, I'll outline my sprinkled flower petals as well. This way there's some details in the tree to indicate the pinkness of my tree's flowers in bloom. Plus, it's a bit easier than having to do like 1,000 small flowers everywhere. Once I've outlined everything with the marker, I'm going to take my eraser and erase the pencil for a cleaner look. Doing this helps me see my lines more clearly, and don't worry if you've sketched too darkly. Try your best, and then remember more color will be added to cover up any leftovers. My favorite part comes next, and that's filling in with color. For the most part, I'm going to color in the tree bark with my brown crayon. But a tree trunk has many different shades of colors in it, so I'm going to add in some red on one side of my tree's trunk and branches, just to get some deeper tones in there. And on the other side, I'm going to use orange to give it a brighter color like the sun is on that side of the tree. It's always good to think about where your light source is coming from, but on a free color like today, not necessary. When it comes to my tree's head, I'm going to color it in pink and violet. First, I'll fill in the petals of the flowers that are spread throughout, switching between pink and violet ones. Then I'll color the entire head in pink. This would just give me a good base color to show that the entire head of my tree is filled with pink flowers. Then I'll take my violet and start adding curved lines throughout, just to give my trees this swaying in the wind feels. Sometimes when we're creating, it's not just about how something looks, but about the feeling we want to relay. It was a beautiful day, and I want to show that with the colors I'm choosing and the ways I'm coloring. Also, there are so many ways that you can make a tree, and I just want to give you some ideas of how to go about creating. I'm going to move on to my next memory, the car. I'm going to do the same thing I did with my pink tree and outline my car in marker and then fill it in with crayon. Although this way of coloring isn't always the most exciting, I will say that when I was younger, I always outlined any work I created, and thanks to all that practice, I became really great at lining. And in the art world, lining is very important. We see this all the time in cartoons or comics, where characters are outlined in certain colors, usually black, and this type of exercise can help us. Definitely find the time to play around with your markers, and look at all the different line widths it can make. You'll be surprised. Now that that's colored in, I can go to my palm tree. And yes, I am going to line it with marker, but this time I'm going to add a secret ingredient into our coloring. My markers are water-based. Most markers are nowadays, and because they're water-based, they can be manipulated by varying amounts of water. By adding a bit of water on my brush, I can pull the color from the marker into the white space of my palm tree. I'm not using a lot of water, so my paper is drying fairly quickly, and because of that, I can layer more colors on top. So I'm going to add in some yellow to brighten up my brown in certain areas. Layering colors is probably my favorite part of coloring. It always allows me to access more colors than I thought I had. I'm going to do the same process with the palm tree leaves. Outline in green and add water to pull the color from the marker strokes to the white spaces in my leaves. I'm satisfied with my palm tree, but I want to outline it in a bold color so that it stands out more. Palm trees have practically become synonymous with California now, and I really enjoy looking at them and all their glorious heights. Cool, I like that. Now I'm going to move on to my larger picture of the Sean Diamond Plaza venue area. If you haven't caught on by now, then this may shock you. I'm going to start with outlining with marker, but just the stage and benches this time. I have something special in mind for my music-loving people here. These cool dudes are going to be outlined in crayon from head to toe. While I'm outlining, I wanted to share that the reason I chose the outdoor venue area was because I miss going to see live music. I miss the energy of being surrounded by people who love the same musician or band that I do. I hope we can get back to these types of events very soon. Alright, now that I've outlined my people in crayon, I'm going to erase what pencil lines I can without messing up my crayon. I won't get all of them, but for the most part is what I'm aiming for. With the pencil out of my way, I'm going to use my watercolors now to fill in my people. The best part about this is that the crayon will contain my watercolors and their respective spaces. The oil from the crayon blocks the water from crossing into it. This is a great technique to play around with, especially with a white crayon where hidden messages can be revealed. As I'm painting in my people, you'll notice that there are times when I put too much color and water on my brush and the color's just more overwhelming than I wanted it to be. In this case, you can dab it with a napkin and take out as much color as you want, or you can pick up the color with your brush and dab your brush on the napkin. I tend to pick up the color with my brush, dab it on my napkin, clean my brush, and repeat so that I can continue picking up and moving the color to find the shade I like best. The rest of this cool plaza area, I'm going to do a mix of everything we've done so far. I want to fill in as much color as I can, but I also want to be careful I'm not getting too much water near my black outlines so that they don't smudge too much. Sweet, I like what I have so far, and now the last item I have here is a mask. I'm going to use only watercolors for this one. I'm going to start out with outlining my mask with one of my favorite colors, orange. After my outline, I'm going to use the wet on wet technique to add more colors. The wet on wet technique means that I'm going to be adding only water to my picture first, and then dipping my brush in paint and placing the color where I put the water. You can see that the color just spreads itself, and I can layer it with other colors too. This is a great way to cover space and add layers of color in a cool way. I wanted this mask to have that tie-dyed look, so I definitely added in multiple colors. Masks have become a daily accessory for all of us to remain safe, so I wanted to add one here, just to remind myself that there is hope for a better tomorrow. The last part of this mask is adding the straps and the smile. The wet on wet technique takes a bit longer to dry, so make sure you're giving it enough time before adding a definitive detail like a smile on top of it. We don't want it to smudge. Alright, now that all my chosen memories and hopes of my neighborhood have been colored in, I want to fill in all the white spaces of the background with color. I'm going to create some cool crayon starfish-like designs, just because I'm really hopeful about enjoying the beach this summer, and then I'll split the background between blue and green using my watercolors. As I'm doing this, I just want to say thank you for creating with me today. I hope you know that there are spaces out there for you to find your creativity. Whether it's your neighborhood art center like the DAS Center for the Arts, or a city community-oriented org like Grand Park. As an extra thank you, I've created this coloring sheet based on my walk in downtown Pomona. I hope you have enjoyed all the random coloring tips I've shared and that our activity inspires you to think about how your own neighborhood can support your creativity.
And then talking about kind of what's next.
Okay.
So wanted to move in that direction, but before kind of doing that, I wanted to see if there's things that were missing in the process part of it, or we can get more deep into kind of the music side of things.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't mind talking about either the music, the record a little more, or the film, and then the installation. All of these projects have a human component in them. You know, the island, we weren't just focusing on the forest or the beach or the animals. There were people there, and there were machines and, you know, some sort of industry, and all these things are fair game for what we're experiencing and what we're capturing, you know, as both a person and as an artist. There were 3 of us, well, maybe 5 of us, including the visual artists, 3 musicians on the island, and we're all going, you know, different places on our own with our microphones, exploring in an isolated way. So we're not all sticking together. You know, one of us might wake up at a different time and have a different idea of where they want to go. So say they went to the beach and found some sounds and recorded some sounds. So that happened every day during the week, and at the end of the week, we're all coming together, kind of sharing what we've found and integrating that into a performance.
How does it change when it comes to that active listening, right? How does it change when all of a sudden you have to go from a participant of an environment to an observer of this environment?
Yeah. So one of the goals of this project is to give the listener or viewer a sense of a different perspective that is available to them. at all times, no matter where you are. And if you're sitting in your room at home and you really listen to what is there, there's a lot more than what you might normally hear. And that's just how our brains work. They filter out most of what we see and hear. So because we're using equipment to listen, it enables us to focus on the moment and what is around us in a way that might not normally be accessible. And the microphones will pick up a lot more sound than we're used to hearing with our ears. And the cameras pick up, different things that we're able to see. It becomes this very focused listening, and it is active listening. It's active participation with what is around you. Part of our process, to get into that focused zone enables us to just experience the land differently. We're going through a days-long process of experiencing and collecting and recording, and then an hours-long process of improvising to get down to the 30-minute.
Almost as if you force yourself not to create a vision of the work until you go through the first phase of the process.
Right. And I think this being location-based, ensures that there cannot be a vision, because we don't know what we're going to find.
Exactly.
We don't know what we're going to hear or see. So it all is being discovered in the moment.
And I know there's, besides the film, the record, there's also the installation that you're doing here in this location, right, where we're speaking from.
Yes.
Can you tell me about the installation?
Yeah, so the installation, it's really taking the raw material that was used for the record and for the film, removing it from those contexts and applying it to, this physical space.
I was wondering if in the process, with what's happening with climate change, global warming and so forth, if you're capturing places that are changing, that may not be going back ever to what they were, and sometimes even at times as you're capturing disappearing landscapes in the process.
I think that's a byproduct of what we're doing not a focus.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't specifically targeted areas that are endangered. This project doesn't have an environmental slant where we're trying to capture places that are disappearing. I think that's just happening naturally.
It's just happening, yeah. Based here in Los Angeles, where the pace, even though it's not New York or any other large city, it is a place that has large population, very active. You're juggling many projects always at once. So the change of pace alone of going to a place that is so remote must have had a deep impact in you too. It's almost as if the process of recording and the process of experiences, as you said, the waking up, the walking around, the eating, having a quiet meal, and not having to run through so many things throughout the day prepares you to the final improvisation that you're doing. I can imagine you, Jason and Aaron, were different people when you arrived and from the moment you were recording and you utilizing these recordings. I think it's very much about process in a way. Taking a role or developing a film and developing an installation where you are the person who has been carrying this guiding the vessel, through the process. Is it something that when it comes for the film or for the installation, you kind of give up a lot of those visions and you put it in the hands of others?
I mean, I think along the way, I'm welcoming the hands of others. That collective nature of the performance and the improvisation is so important that, I could do it on my own, but it wouldn't be as fun and it wouldn't be as good. And so it's a solitary pursuit, but we're doing it together. So we're seeing each other and seeing ourselves in these new ways.
How do you come out of it? How did the project develop? What you found on the other end?
After going through something like that and coming out intact and with something to show, it just strengthens, my belief in engaging with the unknown.